class, this is Miss Vita. Today we're going to be learning the 5 different ballet foot positions. This is going to be something that we are going to use in color guard, and it's going to be a basis of our dance technique and training. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to start off in what's called parallel first. The reason why that we're starting here is this is the easiest position that you can obtain without any knowledge. Parallel first is exactly what it sounds like. Your feet are going to be parallel together. As you can tell, I'm wearing white socks to help aid me through this video so that you can see what my feet are doing. In parallel first, my heels and my toes are going to be touching. My feet are going to be together. My legs are going to be fully extended. I'm not going to be bending at the knee. My knees are facing forward. So this is going to be our parallel first position. Now from here, we can go into our regular first position, which would be turned out. So what I like to do is I like to think of my feet like a book. So I have the book cover in the back of the book. And in order to go into first position, I have to open the pages of the book, which are my toes. So I'm going to take my toes and I'm going to push them out into what's considered my natural turnout. Okay? Turnout is basically how flexible you are in your hip flexors, and it helps with rotation. So as you can see in first position, my heels are together. My toes are pointing out into my natural turnout, which is a little more than a 45-degree angle. And then from here, my knees are also pointing out. My legs are going to remain straight as we go through these positions. Now, as we get more detailed later, we'll talk about bending the knee and going into a plie with all of these positions. But for right now, we're just going to do everything on straight legs. Okay. Now, from first position, we're going to take our right foot. We're going to step to the side, and we're going to place our right foot down. Okay. So as I'm placing my right foot down, I want to make sure that I'm thinking about being shoulder width apart, okay? So your feet and should be stacked under your shoulders. So it should be like shoulders, hips, feet, all in pretty much one column, okay? So this is what we call second position. So second position is just stepping out and having that shoulder or hip width apart. From here, I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to bring the heel of my right foot into the arch of my left foot. Okay, so I'm going to come in, heel of my right foot into the arch of my left foot. It's going to look like a T. Okay, now for those dancers who have more turnout, it will look wider than that. But for those of us who have normal turnout, it's pretty much going to look like a T. You really want to make sure that your heel is in that arch of your foot, okay? Now from here, I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to step out. So I'm going to take that tendu. I'm going to step down, okay? Now I'm in what's called fourth position, okay? Fourth position, I like to think about skiing, okay? The reason being is you're going to have 2 sets of tracks. So if I look to the left side of my body, my right heel is in line with my left toe. If I look to the right side of my body, my right toe is in line with my left heel. So it's very much like I'm on a ski track, and I can only be in those lines, okay? Now, if I were to take this fourth position, I'm going to turn to the side. If I were to take this fourth position and pivot to the front over my left shoulder, I would be in a second position, so I would be shoulder or hip width apart, okay? That's going to be very important in our fourth position. We don't want to go too narrow because that's going to look like another position coming up, and we don't want to go too wide because then there's not much we can do with it as far as movement. It's going to actually restrict us a little bit, okay? So going back in that fourth position, we want to make sure that if we turn to the side in that second position, we were shoulder width apart, okay? So we're here. Now from here, I'm gonna take my foot, I'm gonna bring my right heel, and I'm gonna put it in line with my left toe. So my right heel is in line with my left toe. Now, as I look over to the other side of my foot, my right toe is not touching my left heel. That's gonna be open. So it's kind of gonna look like a greater than or less than symbol. That's kind of what it's gonna look like. And this is what's called fifth position, okay? Fifth position is probably gonna be the hardest position because you're gonna want to bend your knees. So you really wanna think about squeezing those inner thigh muscles to stand up nice and tall as you're in that fifth position. And then from this fifth position, you can go back to first position. And then you can do the same thing on the left foot. So going on the left, we have our first position. We step out, a nice little tendu step into a second position, making sure that we are shoulder or hip width apart. Then where I'm gonna tendu my foot, I'm gonna pull it into third position. My heel is right up against the arch of my other foot. From here, I'm gonna tendu forward. I'm gonna step in that fourth position. Again, thinking about if I were to turn to the side, would I be shoulder width apart? So I don't wanna be too wide or too narrow in my stance. Then from here, I'm gonna take this foot, tendu, and I'm gonna pull it into fifth position. And fifth position for me looks like that greater than or less than symbol or like a zigzag. Then from here, I'm gonna tendu forward and then I'm gonna pull it into first. Okay, now as you're going through these positions, I know we haven't talked about what a tendu is yet, that's okay. So make sure you just step through it. Just pick up your foot and step through each of those positions and really think about making sure that you're connecting where you need to connect. Now, obviously in second position, our feet don't connect, right? But there's a connection in first, there's a connection in third, there's not a connection in fourth, there is a connection in fifth, and then obviously there's 2 points of connection in our parallel first.